of much controversy. We are now joined by Dov Lipman, who's a member of Knesset for Yesh Atid, that is Finance Minister Yair Lapid's party. Hello, Mr. Lipman, thank you for joining us.
Sure, hello Gilad, and to all the listeners.
It has become somewhat of a conventional wisdom lately that the new elections, not even 2 years after the last ones, is in nobody's best interest. But I have this weird sense of deja vu, because in July, just before the Gaza war, we heard time and time again that neither Hamas nor Israel are interested in conflagration, but one thing led to another, and 51 days later, we saw thousands of casualties, widespread devastation, and what have you. Now, my question to you is, lehavdil, of course, is there any chance that things within the government will spiral out of control in the same way?
So I'm happy that you put the lahavdil in place before I did. First of all, I agree with your introduction. Since we were elected a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, I've gotten used to the weekly guessing game about when elections will be, and for the most part, we have not taken part in that. Certainly we had our red lines in joining the government, certain major laws which we required in order to be able to continue as members of the government, and we've been consistent in terms of those. At this point, we have a situation where, from our perspective, a budget has been presented which is a very social-minded agenda to it, with huge amounts of money being added to health, to education, to welfare, to internal security, and to national security. And then we reach the point where there's all kinds of interests that are pulling at it. Our belief is that we're still capable of moving forward with that budget. We believe that people will make the right decision for the benefit of Israel, and that hopefully things will quiet down.
But your coalition partners think differently, or at least they're saying that they won't.
Yeah, I can't speak on behalf of members of the other parties. I can just say that from our perspective, what we have in front of us right now is not a reason for the government to collapse or to go to elections. There isn't a phenomenon of budget being presented and all kinds of interests pulling at it. We're willing to compromise and come to understandings, but not if it means in any way cutting back.
But this is different, Mr. Lipman. This time it's different because you already missed the deadline, or at least you're nearing another deadline that from which there's no return.
Yeah, well, first of all, we have plenty of time from this point onwards to get the budget passed by December 31st. Theoretically, even if it gets to December 31st, there are options to temporarily move forward. We truly believe that we can get it done. We truly believe that it's the right thing for Israel, and we truly believe that it's the wrong thing to go to elections.
Can you explain briefly what are your red lines in terms of the budget?
We've been very clear that first of all, certainly the 0% VAT tax for the housing, which is one of a series of housing reforms that are in place to bring down the cost of housing. That's something which, from the beginning, we said that needs to pass for the benefit of young couples in Israel. And it's not just those who receive the benefit, but even secondhand sales will go down as a result. So certainly that's an important one for us, and one that we're not going to shelf. And like I said before, we're not willing to make cuts in the social areas of health, education, welfare, internal security, and we presented a budget which has significant increases. In terms of specific red lines on the details, that's something which I can't even get into. Obviously, there have to be discussions and negotiations, and that's what's happening even today as we speak. But the overall approach of a social-minded budget, that's what we've brought to the Israeli people, and that's what we're insisting should pass.
Okay, I'd like to ask you, had you been in Yair Lapid's position as the head of the largest faction in the Knesset? He has 19 votes, as opposed to Netanyahu, who has only 17 or 18. Why should he not try and form an alternative coalition without even worrying about going to a new general election? He has the power as the head of the largest faction in the Knesset to form a different coalition. Why not even consider that?
Stability is a key factor in the success of a country. There are ministers that are in their positions. They're all in the middle of reforms of significance, not just in Yesh Atid, but in other parties as well, trying to force your agenda by changing governments might sound like a good option, but there are so many factors that are impacted by doing so. The goal is we have a government with ministers in place that are doing good things. Let's continue in that path while also okaying the budget, which we have presented, which, like I said before, will add so much for the benefit of the citizens of Israel.
Do you think that Yair Lapid is on his way to replace Netanyahu in 2 years' time?
I certainly believe in Yair Lapid as a person who is capable of being the Prime Minister of Israel. I don't think that's our intention right now. Our intention right now is for him to continue as Finance Minister in this government and continue making positive changes to benefit, most importantly, over the course of this year, the cost of living in Israel.
Okay, Dov Lipman, an MK for Yesh Atid, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Goodbye.